Okay. Okay, normally what do you mean by programming language? Like any general definition in general. Like if anyone asks what is meant by programming language, what do you define?
Giving set of instructions to the machine for executing some tasks.
That's right. So to let's say this is a computer, and to interact with the computer, let's say I'm a user. To interact with the computer, we use defined language known as programming language. So using programming languages, we write set of instructions to a computer to perform a specific task. Like for human beings, we have different languages and we communicate using our own languages. Whereas to communicate with the systems, we use a programming language. And there are different types of programming languages. We have high level languages and low level languages. Okay? So high level is nothing but the languages which are similar to our human languages, like Python, Java, C++, Python, Java, C++, everything. Okay, so these are understandable by humans. So it's more likely a human understandable language. So we can say this as high level languages. Whereas low level languages is like C or some mission languages, like when you are developing a controller or something with a EC background or writing some code for designing the architecture of a computer. We use different languages to communicate with the system. So that's known as low level languages. And suppose you are working on a project and there might be different scenarios to fix the programming languages, maybe based on a framework or based on some other use cases. We will figure it out and then we will decide a programming language. Okay, in real world projects, so we use OOPS concepts. So OOPS are nothing but object-oriented programming languages. So Python is also known as OOPS language. It's an object-oriented language, and we have different types of languages. OOPS, we have functional programming, and we have procedural languages, something like that. Okay, so did you attend the last session? We were discussing about the functions. Did anyone attend the last session? Suppose I have developed function one of the, let's say this is my whole project. Suppose building a calculator is my project. Okay. And I have different functions. Okay, function one, function two, function three, function four, like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. Okay. So we have different functions and each function leads to different output, right? Different output. So each function works differently compared to other functions. So each function is an independent function which together contributes to project. So in this case, what we can do is we can divide a project as small modules. We can divide this as a module 1, module 2, module 3, something like that. So it's a subpart of the project modules. So normally we can say this as a functional languages, writing the program as a function and then using this function to alter the data. Okay, suppose I have data as 2 comma 3. If I pass 2 comma 3 to add function, it will add. It will output as 5. Suppose if I am passing 2 comma 3 to multiplication function, it will multiply. Same like that, we have different functions. All together contributes to a project called calculator. Okay. So this is how in general real world projects. That each project is divided into different modules, and in each module we build different functions. Altogether, we'll call it in a main method. And we also talked about stack memory and heap memory, right? Where the objects are stored and the memory location will be pointed to heap memory. This is a stack memory. Okay. Did you all remember everything? Or should I repeat it once again? And okay, so coming back to this. So we have concept called classes and objects. Classes and objects. Okay, I'm not diving deep into these topics, but I'm giving just as a basic information. Since there are few people, I will continue this in next session, but just for your understanding. Okay, suppose I have a class, and class has different objects. Object one, two, three, four. Okay, okay. Coming to class is nothing but blueprint of a object. Blueprint. Okay. Suppose I want to build a car. Okay. I want to build a car. What does car has? Car has engine. Car has brakes, or we can say the function different. Okay, car has 4 doors. Okay, so I'm giving a blueprint. If I want to build a car, I need to get an engine, get the brakes, and it should has 4 doors. So I can build any car. Suppose I'm considering BMW or Audi. Okay, so BMW should has, suppose it has V8 engine and it has brakes and it has 4 doors. And Audi, it has different types of engines. Suppose it has V7 engine and it has brakes and it has 4 doors. So BMW is known as object of class car. Is object one, and Audi is an object two of car. Okay, got the point here. The class car has different objects. First object is BMW, second object is Audi, and it has different other objects like other cars. But the basic is it should have all these functions. So car is known as a blueprint of objects. It's a blueprint. Okay, let's take other example. Okay, suppose I have a student here. Okay, there are 3 people here, so I have 3 students. Let's say XYZ. Okay, I have a student. So okay, second. Student should have name. Student should have ID, and student should have phone number. Let's say student also has address. Okay, so there are 3 people in this class. Let's say X, Y, and Z. So X has different name. X has name as X. ID as 1, mobile number as 123, and address is something. And Y has the same different name, ID, and mobile number and address. So Z also has same thing but different values. So the concept here is it should have all these attributes, like all these functions. So it also has name, ID, phone number, and address. Okay. So from this we can say student is a class. Student has three objects. So there are three different students from the student class. Okay. Any doubts here?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. So there are different, you know, mechanisms or different ways to tell the OOPS concepts, and we'll look into that in deeper in the next sessions. But this is the basics one. This is the basic one. Okay. Okay. Let's start. Okay. Let's again come start from the basics. So we know what is meant by Python and how to write a variable. And okay, variable is nothing but value that can be assigned to any variable object. Suppose I have a variable called a is equal to 8. This is my data value and this is my variable name. So anything that comes before is equal to is known as variable name. Anything coming after is equal to is known as data value. And this data can be of different types. Okay, like integer, string, float, and what else? Can be boolean value, true or false. And there are different types of data types. And we can say it list, tuple, say dictionary and everything. These are known as data types. Data types. Okay. Okay. Let's say okay, you are writing a program here. And okay, you are writing a program. This program you are writing in Python. Okay, suppose let's say Java example. Let's say I'm writing a Java program in my system. So what happens after running this Java program in the background? So we have a compiler, and now compile time, and this is an output. After compilation, we'll get output. So this is known as compile time, and this is known as runtime. Compile time and a runtime. Okay. Okay. So we have written a program in high level language known as Java. So once the program runs, the system should understand this Java language. So normally what the system knows is 0, 1s. Okay. Just a binary language, 0, 1s. So everything in programming, in computer science, whatever you're dealing, everything will be converted to 0, 1s only. Okay. Even if you consider networking, like network 1 and network 2, when you are sending a packets, data is stored in 0, 1s only. And we have cyber security. In cyber security, for encryption and decryption, everything we do 0, 1. Okay. Okay, what happens here after running a Java program? So Java program is name.java. Okay, which Java program is converting to a byte language, converted to byte code. The byte code is 0, 1, 0, 0, something like that. It's a binary language. So to convert a program to machine understandable language like called bytecode, we use compiler. For Java, we use Java C compiler. We have Java virtual machine that has all these packages. Okay, all these packages inside, like how to import libraries or how to install libraries, dependencies, compiler, everything is in this package. That's all a different topic, but just for understanding, I'm saying. Okay, after converting this Java language to a bytecode, this bytecode is this bytecode is what happens here. This bytecode is run by a runtime. During the runtime, it will convert the bytecode to output. Okay. Suppose I am adding 2 plus 3 as a program. I am writing a program to add 2, 2 comma 3. Suppose a is equal to 2, b is equal to 3, and I'm adding a plus b. So system dot out dot println. I'm doing this. This is a Java code. Okay. Okay. What's happening here? Okay, public static void main, and then we need to give all these things. This is a Java code. So this Java language is converted to a byte language. Okay, byte language known as bytecode. And this bytecode is converted to output. So here, what is the output? 2 plus 3, 5. 5 is the output. Okay. So there are different mechanisms like in the background. So that's a different part of Java, but this is the basic. It's how internally it works. Okay, coming to Python, coming to our topic, Python. Okay, one more thing. Let's say Java only. Suppose you are defining a variable called a is equal to 2. Here a is an variable and 2 is a data value. Okay. So when you are defining a variable, you also need to define the data type of this variable. So in Java, we can say a2 is an integer value. So I need to let the system know variable a is an integer. Suppose if I want to store a is equal to hash, this is a string. I need to specify string before the data variable. So we need to let the system know the data type of each variable. Okay, coming to Python. I'm doing the same thing in Python. So what is the difference between these two? These two. There is no need to explicitly write the data type of each variable. Okay, there is no need to write. Python automatically run line by line. Okay, so it is an interpreted language. Python is an interpreted language. So we have seen the Java. So Java is first compiled, and after the compilation, during the runtime, it will gives the output. Whereas in Python execute line by line. As soon as we write the code, the compilation, like the program starts running. Okay, so line by like interpreter takes each line and it will start executing the code. So we don't need to give any data type here in Python. It will during runtime only it will automatically, based on the data value, it will take this an integer and it will take this as an string. Okay, so that's the difference between Java and Python. based on the compilation and runtime. Okay. And what else we discussed in the previous sessions? Okay, comments, right? Single line comment we use this symbol hash symbol, and for multi-line comments we use 3 quotes. Okay. Comment. So, so basically, when we write a comment, the interpreter thinks that this is not a Python language, so it will just discard this line. Suppose I am writing a is equal to 2, a is called hash, and then I am writing something here. So this will not consider as a Python language. So this will be discarded by the interpreter and it will go to next line. Okay. And that's about the comments. And what else we discussed?
Typecasting.
Okay, typecasting. Okay, till now everyone is comfortable.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. And what do you mean by typecasting?
Like converting
Okay,
from
we have
that to another.
okay. Converting one data type to other data type. Suppose I want to convert integer to string. Okay. So I just need to mention int of the string name here. Okay. So it will convert whatever written here to an integer. So this is known as typecasting. Conversioning of like converting one data type to other data type is known as type conversion. So even when we are discussing about list and tuples, also we have seen how tuples can be modified, right? We first we need to convert tuple to a list, and then after typecasting only we can apply different methods, right? And what else?
Like the scope of the variable.
Anyone? What scope of the variables?
Scope of the variable, like local and the global.
Okay, local variables and global variables. Okay, we haven't discussed this in the detail because I told you that I will be discussing this in functions. Okay, so in general, what is mean by local variable mean? The variables that can be used inside the function. Okay, suppose I have written a function 1 and this is the code for function 1. Okay, and here I am given a is equal to 2. This variable can only be used inside this function 1. Okay, in the above we have discussed here, right? How we can use different functions and we together call as a project. Suppose in the addition function I'm using a is equal to 2. Suppose if I'm given this as a local variable, we cannot use a is equal to in other function called substitute function. We can't use a is equal to in other functions. Okay, so this is known as global local variable that can be used at that time, like at that place, by or else inside that function is known as local variable. Suppose I'm writing a global variable called a is equal to 5. This a is equal to 5 can be used in all these functions. So all these functions can access a is equal to 5, which is known as global variable. Okay. And we talked about numbers. We talked data types, variables. We talked about casting. Okay, we talked about Boolean data type. So what is my Boolean data type? It should be either true or false, right? And we also talked about different operators. First, I will show you. We talked what is Python and we can use Python different fields to use the Python language and the features of Python. We talked about syntax and how we can assign multiple values to one variable, print statement, and okay, strings. We talked about strings and how to concatenate or how to modify the strings. We also talked about slicing. Okay. Okay, let's go to the last session. Okay. Okay. After this, we also talked about collections. Okay. So there are four data types for collection. What is meant by collection? Suppose I have multiple data. Suppose I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 integers. I want to store all these 5 integers under one variable. Okay. Is equal to, suppose I'm storing. So this is known as collection of data. Collection of data is stored under one variable. So this is known as collection, but there are different types of collections, different data types of collections. We talked about list, we talked about tuple, and we talked about sets, we talked about dictionaries. Okay, so list is known as list can be indicated using square brackets, tuple, round brackets, sets and dictionaries with curly brackets. Okay, and there are okay. Did you understand what is meant by collection here, or do you want me to repeat once again with the examples or
Understood.
anything? Okay. Okay, we talked about different differences between list and tuple. So this is unchangeable, right? We cannot modify tuple. So if we need to perform any operations on tuple, we need to convert tuple to a list, perform the operations, and then convert list back to a tuple. Okay, that we have discussed. Like if you want to check these sessions, it's in our YouTube channel, so you can go to our previous sessions and watch our collections video. And we also talked about how duplicates can be handled and how we can access items, everything. And then what else? Okay, we talked about conditions and if statements. Okay, what is mean condition? Like what is mean condition in general? Where like set of rule or a rule, set of rules that should be either true or false, right? It can be either true or false. Suppose I have A and B. A can be greater than B, or A can be less than B, or A not equal to B, or A can be greater than or equal to B, A less than or equal to B. Yeah. Okay. These are known as conditions. So conditions based on these conditions, there will be next set of operations. Suppose only people with 18 plus can vote. And I have age equal to 19. So I can compare. Here 19 is greater than 18 or not. If it is true, I need to perform some actions here. If it is false, I'm writing if it is true, I need to perform some operations, or else I need to perform some operations, right? So this based on the conditions, we do perform set of operations, like set of instructions on the next data conversion. Okay, just be careful with Python when writing the code, like indentation. It's like a white space in the line, in the beginning of the line. Not sure if my ID is open or not. I'll show you here. I think by this time you might have known what is meant by indentation. Okay, suppose this is my function. Okay, we talked this in the last session. If I'm giving print here, like before of the beginning of the sentence, it will throw me an error. It says indentation error, something. Okay. So when we press enter after writing function, it will directly goes down to my function name, not below def keyword. Okay, so this is one thing, and then we talked about if, elif, and else. So we can have multiple elifs, and finally, if none of the conditions got passed, it will execute else statement. Okay, and we talked about while loops, talked about for loops. Okay, any doubts in these concepts? No, these are the basics. So we talked about all the basics here. Any questions? Anyone?
Sir, what is meant by list compression, sir? Compression.
List compression?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Like what do you mean list compression? Or you mean no methods in list?
Not merit, sir. I saw in somewhere that list compression in some interview questions in Google. What is meant by list compression? Like that, sir.
Okay. Okay, that is known as list comprehension.
Oh, okay, sir.
Like it's a okay. Let me here. This is known as comprehension. Okay, we talked about writing for loop in one statement, short for loop. Okay, for loop in one statement, like short loop. We talked about short loop, right? Okay, let me write you an example here. Okay, suppose I have a is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, so how can I print all these elements using a for loop? So for x in a, okay, for x in a, what can I say? Print x, right? But this is how normally we write, like for loops, while printing everything. So using the comprehension with list comprehension, comprehension is nothing but the shorter form, the shorter way to describe the specific code. So we are printing x. So I am writing x for x in a. I am writing print x for x in a. That's it. Instead of all these things, all these two lines, I am writing in a single line. Or I want to append this in a new list called B. I can say X. So I want to append 1, 2, and 3. So I can say X for X in A. What I can say? This I can store in a new list called B. Okay. So X here, first one. In the first iteration, X will be 1. So I'm taking 1. For 1 in A. Yes, 1 in A. So I'm printing 1. I'm taking B is equal to 1. And the next iteration, X will be 2. For 2 in A, it's 2 is there, so we're printing 2. And the next iteration 3 is there. For 3 in A, 3 is present in A, so we are writing, we're storing in the B. Okay, this is known as list comprehension. Okay, any doubts?
Sir, is
Okay,
there any
we also
syntax
talk.
for questions?
Oh, sorry, come again.
Is there any syntax to be followed for these comprehensions? Syntax.
Okay, syntax. So yeah, I think this not like it's not much important, but just a shorter way of writing code, just for our own purpose.
Yeah, okay, sir. Thank you.
Suppose if you are doing multiple if staking, like if statements, if they are writing if statements and then we are appending something, we can all minimize this using one short sentence, right? So that's why we use list comprehension. Okay, like if you can say this is my iterable object. So every time we write this one, the iterable object should be the beginning one. So this should be my iterable object, like while writing any type of comprehension form. My iterable object should be first, followed by a for statement. And if there is any conditions, I can say for x in a. Suppose if I want to store or if I want to print only if a is equal to 2. So I can say if a is equal to 2. So here in the first iteration, x is equal to 1. For 1 in a, if a is equal to 2. Okay. If a is equal to 2, I can print 1. If a is in if 2 is in A, I can print 2. If 2 is in A, 3 is in A, I can sorry, if 2 is in A, I can print 3. Okay. Okay, it's like an filter. It's like a filter that accepts based on true conditions. Okay, any questions? Okay. And then we also talked about how we can join two lists and how we can sort list and copying two lists. And the same for tuple and different methods for dictionaries and sets. Okay, any questions? Okay. These are the basics, and the next one will be the most important concepts. So, whatever the program or whatever the projects you work on, will definitely need functions. We will talk about lambda functions. Like this, I will talk about this about after OOPS concepts. Okay, first I will talk about functions and next OOPS concepts. And we will write a code how we can create a class and object and what do you mean by a self method. Okay. Okay, any questions till now? If you don't have any questions, we'll continue since this is the basic recap. I just recapped everything in the short time. What Pawan?
Like when will be the next section on the functions and lambda?
Okay, I will post in the group. Maybe in the evening or tomorrow morning, Sunday morning.
Okay.
Okay, what time is it in India now? It's 8:14.
Like
What is
10
It's
o'clock.
around 10:20. Okay, so maybe started today evening or mostly like Sunday morning. Sunday morning for you.
Okay, sir.
The next session will be on oops and then followed by okay. Let me also discuss this thing. Okay, what all we cover in the oops, like classes and object, and we will cover different concepts in OOP like inheritance or what is meant by polymorphism, and we will also write code on each concepts. Okay, we will also write code, and then this will be the main concepts, and after this we'll talk about module creation, how we can create a module, and after the module we'll talk different modules. We have like math module, so this module has different different functions to use, like addition, subtraction, or all the methods we use from the math. We'll discuss that. And then the data. So we have a JSON object, how we can use JSON module. Okay, this I will talk to you later, but this will be the next concept we will discuss in the next session. Okay. Okay,
Sir,
if you
does
don't have any,
last class recording is uploaded on YouTube, sir, on functions?
yeah, it's uploaded.